Okay, so let's begin the first practice by finding a comfortable seat. So whether that's on the floor or on a chair, on a cushion, wherever you're most comfortable. And when you found that position, just taking a moment to allow the eyes to close, or if you prefer, you can lower your gaze. And we're just going to begin this first practice by taking a moment to allow the mind and body to settle, to find some stillness from the busyness of your morning and your week, whatever you've been doing. And we're just going to start by taking a few deeper breaths than we might normally take. Just breathing in deep into the lungs, and as we exhale, just allowing the weight of the body to sink into wherever you're resting, in your own time and your own rhythm. And once you've taken a few deeper breaths and allowed the body to settle, just letting your breathing, your breath come back to its natural rhythm. And I'm just going to invite you to bring your awareness to the points of the body that are making contact with the surface beneath you. And feeling that weight of the body. So maybe through the feet, wherever they're making contact with the ground. And up through the backs of the legs. So through the calf muscles if they're making contact with a chair or the ground. And the backs of the thighs. And into the sit bones wherever you're seated. Feeling that weight of the torso coming all the way down into your pelvis and through to the sit bones. Feeling supported. And if you have your back against a chair, just sensing into the lower back. And the contact you're making with the back of the chair all the way up the spine. And sensing into the tops of the shoulders. And then feeling the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. All the way down to the elbows, to the wrists, and down into the hands at the bottom, noticing wherever they're resting. Noticing where your arms are making contact. So maybe they're leaning against the sides of the body. Or maybe they're resting on the arms of a chair. And scanning back up to the shoulders, just noticing where your head's resting. Whether it's leaning against a headrest or a cushion, or just being supported by your shoulders and your neck. And as we stay with the head, just gently scanning down the length of the face. Noticing if there's any tension or any softness around the face. So scanning down the brow into the eyebrows. And sensing into the eye sockets. the eyeballs and all around the eyes. Just noticing what's here, not trying to change anything. And if you notice at any time that your mind is wandering in thought, that's okay. It happens all the time. Just noticing it's happened and coming back to the body. And scanning down the nose and down the length of the cheeks. And sensing into the mouth. Noticing where the tongue is resting inside the mouth, if it's touching your teeth. And scanning all along the length of the jaw, following the jawline up to where your ears are sitting. And just taking a moment to sense into any sounds that are going on. And then gently scanning your awareness now down into the chest. And starting to bring your awareness to the movement of the breath in the body. Noticing whereabouts in your torso you can feel that movement most prominently. There's no wrong or right answer. It might be deep down in the belly, or you might feel it more in the chest. Wherever that movement is most prominent, just holding your awareness there for a moment. And again, if you find you're being lost in thought, just bringing your awareness back to the body over and over again. Noticing now where the movement there is entering and leaving the body. So whether that's through the nose or through the mouth. Noticing if there's a change of temperature as it enters and leaves the body. And just following the journey of the breath, wherever it enters the body, all the way down into the body, into the torso, into the abdomen, as far down as you can follow that movement. And all the way back out again. And sensing into the whole of the body, breathing now. All of the movement as one. Taking in any movement in the shoulders, in the rib cage. And bringing the mind back over and over again whenever the thoughts come and try and take you away. And as we begin to bring this grounding practice to a close, just bringing your awareness back to the parts of the body, making contact with the surface beneath. Scanning back down this time, down through the shoulders, the arms, feeling the weight of the torso sitting in your pelvis, through to the sit bones. Noticing the backs of the thighs and the calves. And scanning back down to the feet, wherever they are resting, and making contact with the surface beneath. And then in your own time, just gently bringing yourself out of this practice by maybe inviting some movement back into your fingers and toes, or having a little stretch. And whenever you're ready, just gently open the eyes, letting the light back in. And we'll just take a minute if you want to have a sip of water, or just take a moment before we move into the next practice. The next two practices are going to be focusing a bit more on the senses. So we're going to do an awareness of the senses in this moment. And then we're going to do a taking in the good, which is an awareness of our senses in connection to a pleasant memory or event. So, okay, so just finding your comfortable seat once again. And this time we're going to begin with our eyes open just for a few moments. So just having a gentle gaze around the room that you're seated in. Allowing your visionary field to take in everything around you without really focusing too much on one object at the moment, just grounding yourself to the space that you're in. As well as objects, just noticing shape, colour, light and dark. And then just allowing your sense of sight to hold you in this present moment. This is where you're seated. And then just finding one object in the room, be anything at all, just something on your desk or your hand, and just examining that object, not too intently, but also allowing your peripheral vision to come into play. So you're focusing on, for example, your hand, and you're allowing the rest of your vision around the outside of that to also be part of your awareness. And again, just noticing a sense of light and dark, texture, colour. And then if you'd like to, you can gently allow the eyes to close, or you can keep them open if you prefer. And just moving on to the sense of sound. I just invite you now to open your awareness to all the sounds that are going on around you. Let's begin by noticing sounds that are happening nearby. Maybe sounds that are coming from your own body. The sound of the breath. The sound of any rustle of your clothing, your breathing. Maybe sensing into your hearing. And if your mind begins to wander, just bringing it back to any sound you can hold on to. And then maybe expanding to sounds that are happening in the wider space around you, so in the rest of the room. Maybe there's a gentle hum of machinery, or scanning out maybe to the rest of the building. There may be some other sounds of life happening, radio, television. There may just be complete silence, and that's okay. Just noticing that that's your experience. Noticing how these sounds just come and go, completely out of our control. Expanding your awareness even further now to outside of the building that you're in. Maybe you can hear some sounds or life going on outside on the street. Might be some traffic. Or maybe some sounds of nature, some birds singing or dogs barking. And again, just noticing how a sound can come and go, all within the bounds of our awareness in this moment. Really opening your awareness to all sounds now, near and far. Allowing it all just to be here, even if it's complete silence. And again, if your mind is wandering in thought, that's okay. Maybe seeing if you can observe the thought before coming back to the body, seeing what happens to it if you try to have a look at it. And where does it go? And then just come back to the body over and over again. Moving on now to the sense of touch. So really investigating now anywhere on the body where you can feel a sensation. The feet on the floor. The clothes against your skin. All the points of the body that are making contact with the surface beneath you. All the points of the body that are touching each other. So maybe your hands are clasped together, your arms resting on your lap. If there's any movement with the breath, just noticing the movement against your clothing or the chair. And any other sensations you can notice that I haven't mentioned. Maybe noticing a movement of air through the nostrils as you're breathing. And feeling that sensation going all the way down the back of the throat. And as we stay within the region of the nostrils now, just moving on to the sense of smell. Just maybe having to take a few slightly deeper breaths in through the nose. And noticing if there are any smells around you right now that you can recognize. Maybe smells coming from the body, or smells coming from somewhere else in the room. Maybe the smell of any pets or a vase of flowers. Or maybe no smell at all. And that's perfectly okay too. And just remembering there's no right or wrong way to practice, just whatever is here is your experience right now. And moving on now to the sense of taste. And just taking a moment to notice if there's any remnants of anything that you've had to eat or drink this morning. Maybe the lingering taste of a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or something tasty that you just had for lunch. And bring into mind the flavour of whatever it is you've already had to eat today. And then for the next minute or two, just choosing one of the senses that you found particularly pleasant, or you were able to hold your awareness with today. And just holding on to that sense for a few more moments in silence. Or you may wish to encompass all the senses together at once. Totally up to you. Just allowing the senses to really tune into what's here. And again, if you become distracted, just gently bringing the mind back to the body. And then just beginning to bring the awareness back to the weight of the body, wherever you're resting. Noticing all those points of the body that are making contact with the surface beneath. And feeling a sense of just being supported, being held in place. And then in your own time, once again, in your own way, just bringing yourself out of the practice. Maybe having a stretch. And roll with the shoulders. And we'll just take a moment to have a sip of water and gather ourselves before the next practice, which is going to be a taking in the good. Okay, so let's begin the last of our 3 practices for today. So once again, just finding a comfortable seat. If you want to change position from how you've been seated before, that's absolutely fine. You can lie down or be seated or sit on the floor, wherever you prefer. And in your own time, just allowing the eyes to gently close or just lowering your gaze if you prefer. And just taking a few moments now to settle in with the breath in the body. Noticing the movement of the breath wherever it's most prominent for you. Maybe that's deep down in the abdomen or a bit further up into the diaphragm. Or maybe the gentle rise and fall of the chest is easier to hold your awareness. Just allowing the gentle ebb and flow of breathing to hold your attention and manage your distractions. And if any thoughts come in and try and distract you, once again, maybe just seeing if you can take a look at the thought, observe it and see what happens to it. And then just bringing your awareness back to the breath. Sometimes it's helpful to repeat quietly to yourself some words that help you to hold your attention with the breath. So maybe I am breathing in, I am breathing out. All the while returning your attention to the breath every time your mind wanders in thought. And staying with the breath for another few moments, just following the journey of the breath again as it enters the body, following it down to its lowest point in the body. down the abdomen and then all the way back out again. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. And as we sit here with the breath, I just invite you now to bring to mind a pleasant event, something that's happened either recently or not so recently, but you can still bring to mind quite a lot of detail about it, something that really invoked good feelings, feeling joy, happiness, peace, content. Nothing too emotionally charged, just something really pleasant. It can involve other people or animals, or you might have been on your own, anything at all. And with this practice, we're helping to balance out the negativity bias that our minds tend to lean towards, the negative thoughts that stick, and all the pleasant thoughts tend to slide away. If we can absorb these pleasant experiences and thoughts that we have for some time, then we can help to balance out that bias. So once you've made your choice and thought of something nice and pleasant that's happened to you, just want you to bring that event or that moment to mind. And we're going to begin, again, we're going to work through the senses, and we're going to begin with our sense of sight. And I want you to just look around wherever it is that you are. Remembering all the colours, whether it was light or dark. Really looking around, noticing who's there with you. Taking in every little sight that you can remember, what you were wearing, what other people are wearing, if there's anybody there. The colour of any flowers or anything else. And then begin to introduce the sounds of this pleasant event that were taking place. So whether there was any music playing, maybe some laughter, the sound of the wind in the trees. Really hearing everything that was happening near and far. And sensing into a sense of touch, anything that you could feel or remember feeling from this pleasant event. And feel of your clothing against your skin. Feeling of your feet on the ground. And feeling of maybe holding someone's hand or receiving or giving a hug. Maybe the feeling of the sun on your skin or the wind. And then beginning to notice any smells that come with this pleasant event. Maybe the smell of food or cooking. Or the smell of nature outdoors, flowers, freshly cut grass. And the smell of any animals that might have been with you. And noticing any taste that's involved with this pleasant event. Even if it's just a sip of water or even if there's nothing at all, just sensing into what's there. Maybe some really tasty food or a really nice drink. And then just encompassing all of these senses, sight, sound, touch, smell, taste, to create the whole memory of the pleasant event and remembering how it felt. And sensing now into your emotions. How did it feel to be taking part in this pleasant event? How did it feel in the mind? And how did it feel in the body? Is there a sense of joy and happiness, contentment, peace? Just allowing however this pleasant event made you feel to wash over you once again. Really absorb those feelings like a sponge is soaking up water. And practicing this as many times as you feel necessary and as you need in your day-to-day life. Just a few more moments of allowing these wonderful, good feelings to soak into the mind and the body. I'm just going to invite you now to gently let go of the memory of this pleasant event. And coming back to the body and feeling the weight of the body making contact wherever you're resting. And just taking some time now to notice that contact. To scan back through the body, holding our awareness with the present moment. So noticing the head wherever it's resting, It's being supported by your neck and shoulders, or if it's resting against a pillow. And scanning down to the shoulders. And noticing the arms hanging down, heavy from those shoulders. Resting against the body or the arms of a chair, wherever they are. And scanning down to the wrists and the hands. And sensing into the back, all the way down the spine, into the lower back, down to the sit bones. And feeling the weight of the body, sitting through the pelvis into the sit bones. Fully supported, nowhere that we have to be right now. And sensing into the backs of the legs, backs of the thighs, back of the knees, back of the calves. All the way down to the feeling of the feet on the floor. And feeling the weight of the whole body, feeling grounded. And as we bring this last practice to a close, just once again, in your own time, bringing yourself out of this practice in whichever way you prefer to do. Maybe having a stretch and movement into the body. And gently opening the eyes when you're ready. I'm just going to stop the recording there.